If I had to sum up today's entire video in a single word, it would be regret. Now, frankly, there are not many things that I regret in this life. Maybe a few fashion choices I made when I was younger, for sure. But when I look back over what I've done on YouTube over the past few years, I would say honestly, I regret almost nothing. Almost nothing. There is that maybe 5% of the time where I was like, oh God, no, what was I doing? And that's what we're here to look at today, because we are going to go over my top 5 videos that have aged the most poorly, which unfortunately means we'll be talking about everyone from Logan Paul to James Charles to mrbeast. Oof. Some of these have aged poorly because I was wrong. Some of them have aged poorly because the people in question turned out to be so much more terrible than I could ever have imagined. So we are going to do a post-mortem of some of my most popular videos and see what exactly happened. But first, welcome. My name is D'Angelo, and I am your professor of electromagnetic blasphemy, which is a very real degree that I definitely do have. Or maybe this is just me broadcasting myself talking in my room like YouTube used to be. And in today's lecture, I am the subject. Well, let's be real. I'm always the subject of my videos. Really, I'm just the main character and everybody else is playing part in my world domination. But today I am also the bad guy, honestly, in some of these situations. So why not dive into them? So by no means are these 5 videos the only times I've made a misstep or regretted something I've said online, but by golly, are they the biggest ones that live in my head rent-free and keep me up at night, and I will never be free until I address them. So if you're very new, there's a wee bit of possibility that you only know me from the channel you're watching right now. On this channel, I upload daily content about, I guess, whatever I felt like talking about, and honestly, I might seem like a bit of a plant. Because after like a 10-month break, I just showed up about a month and a half ago, got 1 million views, and have been crushing it ever since. But if you've been here a bit longer, you know that is not the case. This is where the majority of my videos on the internet have been uploaded. It's currently home for my long-form content, but before the deep dive era, I was pretty much doing the same thing on this older channel that I'm doing right here now. And my frequent commentary videos date back all the way to like 5.5 years ago. So anyways, if you're new, you may be thinking, okay, we've got it. So you're on this channel right here with the beige, but you were on the other channel with the pink for 5 years, and that's the story. No, because I actually had 2 million subscribers at one point. So this channel is where I posted, well, long-form deep dive content. And before the long-form deep dive content, I did frequent commentary videos. This channel is almost identical in trajectory to my main one. The only difference is, actually, I don't even remember why I started a second channel. But point is, you are now watching me on my third channel. My top 5 videos that aged the worst are spread out over 3 different channels, and that's why. So let's just start with my biggest channel, the one that I don't post to anymore. If you go to my videos and you sort by popular, the video in question is not there because I deleted it. I have deleted very few videos on the internet, but I had to get rid of this one because I hated the way people were using it. So the video is called Tati Westbrook Aimed for James Charles. It hit her instead, and it got 8 million views. And it's actually part of a trio of videos that I deleted. This was my beauty community series where I basically just did a recap of things that went down with Jeffree Star, Shane Dawson, and Tati Westbrook. I think my Jeffree Star video was on its way to 10 million when I deleted it. And my deleted Shane Dawson video has 20 million views. So why did I delete 38 million views worth of videos, aka the most popular thing I've ever created in my career? Because people were using my videos to defend James Charles. Boo! So in my Tati Westbrook video, the main one that I think was an issue, I pointed out how there was a lot of homophobia going on. She presented a situation where she was like, this gay kid is a predator, basically, and people ran with it. At that time, there was no evidence of James Charles messaging minors, doing any of the things that he was being accused of, but people were very receptive to the idea of like this extremely popular gay content creator secretly being a creep. And to be honest, 4 years later, that's a point that I still agree with very strongly. Based off the information I had at the time, homophobia seemed like the biggest reason why a bunch of people were willing to believe something about somebody while having no evidence other than preconceived notions. And then he admitted to it. He just straight up admitted. So many people came forward and said, no, actually, I'm a minor, and he was so messaging me. And he admitted to it. This man has a child grooming allegation section on his Wikipedia. 16-year-old boy alleged that Charles groomed him by sending him nudes. Other underage boys accused Charles of sending nudes. And then in April 2021, it says, Charles posted a 14-minute long video titled Holding Myself Accountable, in which he stated that he sent sexually explicit messages to 2 different people, both under the age of 18. Though he denied knowing they were underage at the time because he was desperate. When you are using your platform to target children, you shouldn't even have the platform. The moment I heard him say that, I was like, get this dude off of YouTube, please. His attitude since then has been so smug too. He did this whole Cosmopolitan article titled, James Charles would like to be uncanceled, please. Genuinely, James Charles is disgusting. He's just gross. I get the ick thinking about him. And so why do I regret this video that I made? Because honestly, Tati Westbrook was right. She called him a creep and he was a creep. Period. We might not have had the evidence at that time, but that didn't mean it wasn't true, as we found out later. So I don't regret my decision to make the video initially. I didn't go into it with the intention of defending someone with child grooming allegations. Disgusting. However, when the truth was revealed almost immediately, I did everything I could to take down those 3 videos because all 3 of them together kind of pointed to evidence of James Charles being a victim in this scenario. James Charles is a child groomer. He sent nudes to minors. And you want to act like, oh, I didn't know, I didn't. That means you didn't check. That means you didn't verify. That's disgusting. I saw threads of people calling James out for the grooming, and people were linking to my video and being like, no, watch this actually. It was James Charles defenders mostly were linking to my video being like, no, look, check this out, guys. Actually, it was a whole narrative. And I thought about it for like maybe half a second, and I was like, you know what? Forget 40 million views. I don't care. I genuinely don't care. I'll get it again on something else. But this is not what I created these videos for, and I don't want my name attached to somebody being defended against grooming. So honestly, that was kind of an easy delete. It took a lot of confidence in myself to say, you know what? Sure, this may be the thing I'm known for right now. This may be the only reason the majority of the people who have ever heard of me have heard of me, but I genuinely believe I have other stories to tell. I genuinely think this can't be the last time I make a really good video that means something and that people get something from and a lot of people watch. And what do you know? I've had so many massively popular videos since then. I'm talking millions of views on everything from Andrew Tate to my Caroline Calloway video, which to this day, this is the most proud I've ever been of a video I've created. But yeah, that's video number 5. I know I said top 5, but honestly, these are in no particular order. Goodbye, beauty community series. And don't worry, kid, you were gonna get views again. All right, so on to video number 4. This is an example of me just messing up. Like 100%, I was so in the wrong, and I cringe every day I think about this video why? Okay, let me just show you what I mean. So 4 years ago, I uploaded a video called Maam Your 30. This was actually before my beauty community series. And here's the really interesting thing about this video. I did what I was pointing out with the Tati Westbrook thing. The way there are built-in societal kind of narratives about what people in marginalized groups do and their shortcomings, etc. And the way you can unintentionally or unintentionally play into those, causing the people in question to get hate, whether it's deserved or not. That is exactly what I did in this video. It was really, really messed up. I had a problem with what the person I was talking about did, and I framed my argument as, you are too old to have made this mistake. You're 30. And the person you're talking about was like 16, something like that. And so any good points I had in that video were just totally pointless when I was sitting there being ageist. I was talking about things I didn't understand. Up until that point, I had never received any sort of pushback on almost anything I had posted. So imagine my surprise when everybody in the comments hated it so much, actually. I got so many comments saying I was being ageist, criticizing me for criticizing her for having multiple tattoos. So stupid. I said she looks like a coloring book, and now what? Fast forward, I look like a coloring book. Genuinely? Oh my, it's just the worst video I've ever uploaded. It's the worst video I've ever uploaded, point blank period. So You may be wondering like, oh, that's funny. Why is it still online? Well, my reasoning is honestly, I did that. I was ageist. You know what I mean? I would rather the thousands of comments, 1,000+ comments that were calling me out still be there. I would prefer people see that I did the wrong thing there. I made an apology video the very next day because from reading the comments, I realized how in some ways I was doing things that I did know were wrong. For example, like calling her out for the way she looks. Like, come on, D'Angelo. And then in other ways, frankly, I was doing things I didn't realize were wrong at all. At age 20 to 21, whatever, I had no experience with ageism. No one had ever said I was being this. And so I didn't see how I was leaning into these narratives about what people are not allowed to do. But what people explained to me that I'm really glad that they did, you don't forfeit your right to mess up, I guess, just because you're 30. And also, oh my God, 30 is not that old. I think when I was just even 4 years ago, I was thinking 30 is so far away. Fun fact, now I'm closer to 30 than I was to 22 when I made that video. Oh no. I'm very happy that my apology video got almost as many views as my original. It wasn't easy to make the apology video so shortly after, but I'm glad I did. I needed to. And there's comments here that say things like, D'Angelo's always right. Nope. D'Angelo makes mistakes and can be out of line, but he always tries to be genuine and knows when to back off and when to double down. Yes. And so that's why the videos are still up. Thank you to anybody who was there 4 years ago who saw me doing something that you didn't feel represented the rest of my content. Thank you for saying something. Thank you for calling me out. That needed to happen. And I am so glad it happened. Especially before I went on to get the 40 million views on this other series. Because truly, if I had never been checked before I started getting this crazy amount of influence, really, I would not have deserved it. I honestly wouldn't even say I deserve anything I have now. It's just, I'm here. All I can do is try to do the best with it. The only thing I regret is being ageist. I don't regret the backlash. I don't regret that the video is still up. I don't regret the fact that I did the wrong thing and there's a record of it on the internet. I only regret the wrong action. And I'm glad I learned a lesson about, even if I think I have a point, my point is only influenced by my perception. I can't have the correct perception about everything. Now, if you watch a lot of my videos and you think, well, I usually do agree with your take on things, it's not because I intrinsically know everything. It's because ever since that video, I check, y'all. If a thought pops into my head, I stop and think about what motivated that thought. You know what I mean? I'm entitled to my opinion, but do I know where it's stemming from? What would someone who's had a different experience than me think about this very same thing? Why would they think that? And frankly, ever since I've taken that approach, I feel like my content has been so much better. I genuinely consider all of the content I've uploaded in the past, I don't even know how many videos I've put up in a row now, 38, 39. These have all been bangers. These have been absolute bangers. I love the way people view my content now. I feel like in a way I get to share my opinion while also being informed by other people's experiences at the same time. But anyways, enough about video number 4. Let's talk about video number 3. So this is the last video we're gonna look at from the bigger channel, and it's centered around everybody's favorite Logan Paul. This was once again a series I made called Logan Paul versus Jake Paul, where I set out on a deep dive to try to suss out who was the worst Paul brother. This one I think is a lot more like the first situation, where I wasn't wrong to make the video when I did. Once again, I went off of information that was publicly available. And listen, if you have only just now found out about Logan Paul within the last couple years or so, this is going to sound insane, but this is the part where I need people in the comments to back me up if you were here. Logan Paul actually did have a redemption arc. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to like excuse anything. There was a very brief time on the internet where it seemed like he tried to turn things around. And so I made what in retrospect was the horribly aged choice of viewing this as an interesting moment worth kind of getting into and looking at. I was like, wow, how does somebody who has done the worst thing imaginable try to use his platform to do better? Because at that time, he was using his platform to do a little bit better. And like, again, I promise y'all, the video was well received. I put so much work into it. It wasn't just like a contrarian opinion. I wasn't trying to be funny or I guess a troll, but oh my God, Logan Paul took an absolute nosedive after I uploaded that video. I don't know where this little redemption arc was coming from, if this was something he was being advised to do by a PR firm. But my current opinion is there is no way it was coming from the goodness of his heart. That's for sure. I really wanted Logan Paul to be like a story of somebody who did something bad, reflected on it, and then tried to do better. Not saying he should have been forgiven, not excusing any of the things he did, just finding it interesting the trajectory he was taking. But wow, did it not last at all. I don't think it's wrong to want to see good, but honestly, it kind of just reminded me of this scene from Megamind.
I know there's still good in you, Hal.
You're so naive, Roxy. You see the good in everybody, even when it's not there.
As Hal went on to say, there is no Easter Bunny, there is no Tooth Fairy, and there is no Queen of England. I mean, I guess nowadays there really isn't, but you know what he means. No disrespect. In retrospect, my regret with this video is giving airtime to the idea that Logan Paul should be anything other than heavily criticized. However, I consider it to be a time capsule of that brief moment in time where, honestly, many of us thought he was going to turn this around. Sure, I come across as naive in this video because I truly was. But really, I just view this video as proof of Logan Paul's downfall. So I'm kind of glad it's still there. You can see why people thought he could have done better. It really just shows how this man causes all of his own problems and has for what? Like 5, 6, 7, 8 years at this point. It's just absurdity, really. But c'est la vie, you know? It's all part of the job. All right, so now moving to my original channel, one of the videos I want to go over is here. And that video is this one. Lil Tay's horrible hoax. Who would do something like this, I ask? Now, this video actually kind of has lore. If you are unfamiliar with Lil Tay, good, first of all. But long story short, she was like a child influencer being propped up by her brother. He was having her do a bunch of awful things, be really rude and just terrible in her videos. And then about 3 years ago, her account went back online. And who was it? Her brother with a GoFundMe, apparently trying to raise money for some sort of legal battle against Tay's father. It was all very concerning, and so that's what I sort of highlighted 3 years ago. Fast forward to about a year ago, and Tay's account posts a death announcement, essentially saying that both she and her brother had now passed away. And then that was revealed to be a hoax, and Lil Tay claimed her social media was hacked. At the time, that seemed to be true, especially with Tay pointing out that the death announcement didn't even use her proper legal name. And Tay revealed that it was a hack within 24 hours. So I really was like, okay, a highly inactive account was hacked, which by the way is not uncommon. Tay's family came back a day later providing a statement saying, this was not real, by the way, I'm fine. And so I made a video basically saying something along the lines of, oh, this situation sucks. Because truly, no matter what happens with Lil Tay, there is only ever one person I feel sorry for, and that's Lil Tay. Her brother, her mother, her father, who I don't know anything about. All of these people, some of them claim to have her best interests at heart, some of them don't. But this is a child who has consistently been exploited. And so I thought that's what the hack was. I was like, oh God, some hackers have now figured out a way to exploit Tay for, you know, virality once again. And I was like, she finally got away from the limelight. Please just, why can't we leave her alone? But I couldn't have anticipated this. Lil Tay releases music video a month after her death was announced. So Tay, who is like 14 or 16, I think her age is disputed. Point is, she's very much a minor. Dancing around in this music video, which I'm not even gonna play for you. It's all just really messed up. And then Tay did a live stream where she basically was criticizing her dad and defending her mom, the person who was enabling her to do all this viral stuff as an 11-year-old. And so I realized, like, okay, I thought the dad was trying to defend her. What's going on? And that's when it hit me. I just don't want anything to do with this at all. I regret buying into any part of this. My opinion hasn't changed, actually. Lil Tay is still a minor. You know what I mean? She's not the one creating these music videos, etc. The way that she's been styled and presented is highly inappropriate, honestly. I just don't know what the real situation is with her mom or her dad. So after I made that video, and then she immediately comes back with a music video making me look dumb for feeling bad about this death announcement, which now seems like it was just to build hype for her music video, I've decided some situations are just too complex for me to get into. Do you know what I mean? That's actually how I feel about Nikocado, Avocado. You may have noticed I didn't make a video about him coming back to the internet, right? He did like the massive weight loss. Everyone seems to be congratulating him for a social experiment or something. And the truth of the matter is, Nikocado makes me extremely uncomfortable. Coming back and getting 45 million views on a video like this, with everyone in the comments going like, yeah, we're all just NPCs in this 10th dimensional chess game. This is gonna be one of those historic YouTube 2024 moments and we're all a part of it. He gained weight, became a multimillionaire, lost weight, biggest comeback ever. This concerns me. Not the way he looks or anything about this, other than the fact that tying your health into something this viral, I feel so hesitant to comment on this at all. I don't know if Nikocado Avocado is healthy. I see a lot of people assuming he is. We don't know that just because he's skinnier now, guys. What are we doing? Rapidly gaining hundreds of pounds and then losing it in secret and then revealing that you lost the weight. That's not a social experiment. It's just not. I don't understand the way he's framed this or why people have bought into this. And honestly, there are just a few things that I hate talking about. It makes me so uncomfortable speculating about people's health. I don't want to talk about somebody's weight loss. You know what I mean? I don't want to have this conversation. And so similarly, I realized with Lil Tay, I can feel bad for her without playing into, I guess, the media machine of giving attention to something that does not seem to be helping her. So I regret getting involved in something that gave me the ick, right? I should have accurately identified, just because the entire internet is talking about it, it's okay for me to be skeeved out and not want to say anything. I don't have to say something regardless. And I used what I learned here to avoid talking about this because I get the same weird feeling. This video can serve as a nice little time capsule for the time we all thought she was dead, and at least she wasn't, you know, good news, or as good as that news can be. But there are just certain things involving like kids and health where I get weird sinking feelings. And nowadays I recognize sinking feelings are valid. Just skip the topic, no matter how many people are going to watch it. But yeah, I gave myself the ick even thinking about this. Let's just move on. So what's the #1 video I regret the most? The funniest thing is, it was the mildest thing I've ever said on the internet. This is genuinely what I considered to be my least hot take of all time. And that aged the worst. So if you go back to the channel you're on right now and scroll all the way to the bottom, you're going to see this video called Septic Guy Thinks mrbeast Ruined YouTube. It's a very short video. And in 16 minutes, all I really say is, no, you know, I don't think mrbeast ruined YouTube. I feel like that's a really strong implication, but I think mrbeast's content is fine. Like, what do you mean? I promise you, it did not go any deeper than that in my mind. Again, this was the very first video I put up on this channel. I was almost viewing it just like a tweet in video format. And this was before everything went down with mrbeast, like the horrible work conditions being exposed, the multiple people coming forward to say that things were rigged. This was before he was sued by contestants on his game show for the way they were being treated. Now these same contestants are alleging that like sexual harassment was enabled in that environment. This was before people in his camp were being exposed for like grooming and terrible things, which it seems like he was adjacent to at the very least. This was before he announced his horrible like Lunchables knockoff thing. It's so stupid. Holy crap, dude. It just aged so poorly. It just aged horrifically. I wasn't trying to be disrespectful to Septic Guy. I just disagreed with the assertion that mrbeast specifically ruined YouTube. I more so saw it as like, I think YouTube ruined itself with the way it prioritizes a certain engagement rate, which mrbeast leaned into. I was fully just trying to make a point about how editing trends have changed and how I can't really blame people for taste in. No, buddy, defending mrbeast is a crazy look at this point. I would not defend this man against anything. I don't care. Like, if my life depended on it, I would not defend him against literally anything. And I really just hope the proof that I don't think mrbeast is cool is the fact that like my entire channel is like anti-mrbeast content. I don't know if you've noticed, I'm not doing challenge videos. I actually don't edit my videos in a way to try to lure people into watching them for as long as possible. I don't want to overstimulate anybody or anything like that. I just try to be very straightforward about what you're getting in each video and then give it to you and get out 15 to 30 minutes. It's done and done. So I promise I'm not a mrbeast fanboy at all. But yeah, since that video, I I really don't think I've defended very many people on the internet at all. Like, unless I 100% know this person is being called out for something that they don't deserve to be called out for, I just don't even bother defending anybody at this point. I feel like it's very rare now that I'll see something and think, you know what? This is worth the risk of aging horribly. But yeah, I would very much like to take this point to say, I do not support Mr. Beast at all. Not a Mr. Beast defender. I don't watch his content. I mean, how could I watch his content? The editing is genuinely insane. Also, one thing I would like to point out is a lot of people at that time, even though the crazy stuff hadn't been revealed yet, they were saying, at its core, Mr. Beast's content is exploitative, right? And that was the case where I had to go back and educate myself after the fact, because I was thinking to myself, this is the guy who, like, I don't know, gets his friends to participate in his videos, and like the last one to take their hand off a Lamborghini gets to keep it. You know, he has videos reading the dictionary or counting to 100,000 or just eating $50,000 steak or sleeping in expensive hotels. I didn't see any of that as being exploitative. But what was very clearly laid out after the fact was, despite any of his videos being fine, there are multiple times on his channel where he is exploiting people's need for money, etc. And when he's involving people who aren't just his friends or, you know, rich influencers just like him, that's when it all starts falling apart very quickly. So I honestly feel like ruining YouTube isn't even the point or the real thing that should be discussed. How has Mr. Beast's content spread harmful messages about what people should or should not have to do to get resources that they need in their personal lives? That would have been a way better use of my time than, I guess, arguing about a minor point about YouTube analytics. I totally see that now. And so, yeah, I regret sitting down for 16 minutes and saying, oh, guys, he's not that bad. And then he gets revealed to be an actual supervillain. Oh my God. But yeah, Mr. Beast absolutely sucks. Logan Paul sucks super hard, and they deserve each other. James Charles, worst ever. Can't stand him. It's infuriating having devoted any of the server space that my channel's videos are located on to defending them over anything at all, because frankly, they don't deserve it. Like, point blank period, they just don't deserve it. Like, they're not worth it. Now, interestingly, people tried to say that, we all owe Sunny V2 an apology because Ava Tyson got revealed to be a terrible person. But I'm sorry, anybody who says that we owe Sunny V2 an apology is delusional, because what Sunny did was make an extremely transphobic video inciting a bunch of transphobia against her. And just because she was revealed to be a bad person after the fact doesn't make anybody who called out the rampant transphobia that Ava is still receiving to this point wrong. I feel like sometimes people struggle with the idea that multiple things can be true at once. Yeah, Ava turned out to be a complete loser, just an awful person who really should not be on the internet. But also making a video saying, oh, she started painting her nails and taking HRT and she's going to ruin Mr. Beast's brand because of it. It's transphobic. Let's come on now. Don't play with me. But yeah, hopefully I have illustrated some of the fun weeds I have to walk through as I navigate trying to put up content that is hopefully good. I don't do it all perfectly, and I will not do it all perfectly in the future. I'm not perfect. It's crazy, because I'm just so darn close. But clearly this is proof that perfection is unattainable. And I've uploaded like over 200 videos to the internet at this point. So when you average it all out, I would still say, nah, I don't really regret much of anything at all. Those few times where I either do the wrong thing or I just make a mistake because information was revealed later, I think that's a small price to pay. And it's a realistic view of how it is to put up so much content over such a long period of time. As always, the only thing I've ever tried to do, and the only thing I will continue to do with my videos, is my best. And if that's enough for you to continue watching, I genuinely appreciate it. But that's my take on the situation. Dave's take on the situation is that there's no excuse because he has somehow gone this long without ever making a mistake. I have tried to point out that he has also never uploaded a video, but who knows, maybe one day he will. But anyway, I'm of course excited to hear your take. I mean, this is the part of the video where a layman would ask you to subscribe, like the video, or leave a comment, but I will ask you to enroll, evaluate the video, and submit your feedback. Because I am of course running a 100% completely, totally, okay, maybe not really, somewhat unaccredited university. Probably. Just ask anybody in the student body and they'll confirm it for you. We're totally legit. And as for me, whether you'll see me in 24 hours or 24 months is honestly anyone's guess, but until then, thanks for watching. Your homework for today is to tell me, which channel did you start watching me from?